Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abby Ritchie. I'm the founder of Senior Savvy, and you can find me here every Tuesday interviewing people who are invested and involved in helping senior living operators with their technology. I have a great guest today who's going to join us in just a minute, but first, let's run our promo. Oh, Kelly, you caught me eating butter cakes.
The best ever.
Yeah, I would be FedExing these to you, except I've already promised them to the kids today. So, but maybe next time, all right?
For those of you who live in the Phoenix Scottsdale area or visit there often, butter cakes are amazing.
Yeah, they are the bomb, that's for sure. They're perfect. Anyways, welcome to Tech Tuesday, Kelly, and to our second Evolve 2023. Get to know what's going on during these 4 days. Welcome back, Kelly.
Hi, Abby. So excited to be with you here again. And hello, everybody out there. Excited to share with you all today what we have cooking for Evolve 2023.
Yeah, and if this is your first time joining us and your first time meeting Kelly, well, she's awesome. And Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what LE3 is, and what Evolve is?
Absolutely. So, snippet on myself. I've been in the senior living space since 2008. Have always had positions at both the corporate level and the community level, really overseeing everything wellness, engagement, lifestyle, the overall community experience, you name it. And so that encompasses programming, dining, sales, you name it. Everything we get to experience on a day-to-day process or routine in a community. 2 years ago, I joined forces with the founder of LE3 Solutions, Dr. Sarah Kyle. Also has had a very similar career path to my own. And we sit uniquely between owner-operator groups and vendor solutions in our space. So on the owner-operator side, we really help them craft out a strategic roadmap for community experience. And then with vendors and solutions, really help them with understanding the space, its needs, what are operational challenges and hurdles for potentially adopting their solutions. And we help vendors work through that entire process so that they have the best go-to-market strategy they can have that will ultimately truly help serve both staff and residents in our space.
Yeah, because you don't want to just add more work to everyone's pile. You want to see progress. You want to see purpose happening in these communities, and you want to be able to help integrate the various solutions, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? All of this has culminated in this amazing partnership and opportunity with the Senior Living Foresight team. So, few years ago, Sarah and I got to know Steve much better. We knew of him, we knew of his passion for our space. But as we got to grow our relationship, we realized Steve feels as passionate about this piece of the business, life enrichment, life engagement, the community experience, as much as Sarah and I do. And we all know that once clinical care has been delivered, how a resident goes about spending their day really impacts whether they thrive, their overall quality of life, and just how they feel about living where they live. And so collectively, we have launched what is called Evolve. And Evolve really targets those programming professionals, but it's going much broader than that now because we know how a resident spends their day is not left to one person or one department. It's multidisciplinary or interdepartmental in our approach. And so here we are now with Evolve 2023 on the horizon next July. Mark it in your calendars. But what we have grown into, or really even evolved into, if you will, is we now have a focus for each of the 4 days of Evolve. What we will be targeting this coming year for Evolve is amplifying the resident voice. What are ways to go about that? Knowing our residents, our customers, if you will, really helps to define and creates the foundation for everything a community offers, how they serve, how they support. And it will not be the same from community to community, even within the same enterprise organization.
Yeah, so it's not a one size fits all. Communities are going to want different things. There's going to be a different focus on certain things. And so, whether it's dining or sales and marketing or life enrichment and leadership, all of these different departments need to be involved in the overall well-being of their residents' experience.
Absolutely. And I think for years, I think that's what everybody's always wanted. But I think sometimes when we get going in our own responsibilities at work, day in and day out, sometimes blinders go up, and it's never intentional. And nobody ever wants to go to work and say, well, I'm just going to work in my own silo. I'm not going to worry about my colleagues or anybody else. I just think making sure there's a concerted effort to make sure there's this strategic way that these different departments come together to support that is growing in criticalness, to make sure that experience is what we market it as, that residents are loving, not just satisfied, loving, that families feel proud of, that their loved one lives in a community, and that prospects are like, heck yeah, I want to live at that community. And not because it's just fun, right? There's an element of fun that's important no matter where we live or our age, but it's also that it's really supporting who they are as an individual. And it goes way beyond that clinical piece.
Yeah, it also goes way beyond the activity calendar, right? And those time slots and 7 dimensions of wellness or whatever the case is. So, can you take me to a dark place? Can you take me and show me, tell me what this looks like when a resident's experience is not leveraged, it's not considered? I know you have the research and I know you've got the details. So tell us when the resident's experience is not included and focused on, what happens to a resident?
I mean, and I think many of us out there listening or tuning in at a later time to this episode, I think we've all seen it at times. I think we've all unfortunately walked in to a community or a section of the community. Maybe it's just quiet and there's not the hustle and bustle of just life and energy. And maybe residents are sitting around passively engaged in the environment. I mean, you hate to nitpick, but I have walked into those communities where there's 12 residents seated around the nurse's station. And you're like, but why? That doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like this. But we do need to know our residents very well and well beyond, what was their career? Where did they volunteer? What are their hobbies? We have to also start to dig into things like, what do you still want to learn? What do you still want to accomplish? What do you aspire to be? Those are still such critical questions. And for a long time, we've always looked at who the person was. This is an opportunity in our space to really start to focus on what is there still to come and what do you want out of that? So, and then discovering that, that's where people wake up and say, here's what I'm excited for today, or here's what makes me smile every day, or here's what my personal defined purpose may be, or intention for the day of what I want to accomplish. That's such a different approach and process for how our residents can spend their time in our space. And I laugh all the time, like, all right, just because some residents may choose to just spend time on their own and are maybe a little more bashful and not as social. I think we have to be careful when we dive into social isolation and loneliness. We cannot quantify people as such, if we don't know them.
Yeah.
Because I am a person, Abby, you and I learned this about each other when we were away together a month ago. I like to recharge my batteries alone. I don't want to be with other people. And if you all know me, you're probably thinking Kelly's full of it. She's talking to people and high energy, but I recharge by myself. I need that downtime. I need that alone time. And so I think we're at this precipice in our space where we're starting to dig in and understand what are intrinsic motivators for individuals. Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Are they a combination like I am? And those things start to drive how we perceive how somebody is enjoying their time in our communities. And also, what do they want to explore and pursue? And then we can start to build calendars in such a different fashion. We have to get away from these passive opportunities. Our job in this space is not to keep people busy, entertain them, create fun all the time. Our job is to make sure that we are fostering environments of autonomy, places where people can connect and make new friends and learn to grow alongside peers. And then how do we also support whatever those future aspirations may be? So somebody might say to me, Kelly, I want to go climbing in the mountains in Africa on a bucket list trip with my adult children and grandchildren. This is a true story too. And so what did it take for this individual to prepare for that? It took strength training.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something we were offering. And so this individual was able to participate in that, get strong enough for the trip. In fact, she said she was stronger than most of her adult children on the trip. But it all stemmed from, what do you aspire to do or complete? And then I was able to kind of backstep into, how do I support this person's aspiration for their life through programming?
And who else may have that same aspiration, who can come alongside them and join them, maybe in one way of training or another. Something that you mentioned just occurred to me. So since COVID, I've been teaching a lot of my Zoom workshops online. And soon thereafter realized there were a whole lot of students showing up who would never come to the classroom at the community. And I asked them, where you been all my life? This is my first time seeing you. I was always downstairs in your classroom. And many of them said to me, I just don't want to, I prefer to learn this way. Or I don't want to leave my apartment. Or there are too many people in the classroom. But here on Zoom, I can learn and understand, and I can take notes. I don't feel the pressure of all the people around me. So, there are different ways that people are going to want to take in information. There's just not a one size fits all.
Correct. I think it's no different, Abby, when you think about, because you do a lot of teaching, everybody learns differently. Some people auditory, you tell them, they get it. Some people are tactile. They need to do.
Yeah.
People need to see it, hear it, do it. That's me. If I'm not doing it in the moment while you teach me and give me immediate feedback, I'm like, what? I don't understand.
So tell me, within Evolve, and I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the conference that's coming up. Who is it really meant for? How is this year going to be different than last year? And what can we anticipate?
Absolutely. So let's talk about the 4 days, the focus, and then we'll talk about who needs to be attending this. And
I have a little confession. Every time I hear the 4 days, I start singing in my mind, the 4 days of Evolve, Foresight gave to me. Every time I hear it, I just want to start singing A Partridge in a Pear Tree. But maybe as we get closer to the Christmas holiday, I can flesh that out a little bit more. But anyways.
I'm going to leave the song creation and delivery all to my dear friend Abby on here. I still want that for me. All right. 4 days of Evolve without singing. So we're going to amplify the resonant voice. We are going to have a day where we impart engagement strategy and business acumen. I think it's critical for our space, regardless of our position in a community or in a corporate position. We all need to understand how occupancy and the overall budget, how every single one of us has a role in that, and how a one move in and one move out, what does that mean overall? I think there's a lot of business acumen in our space that does not get imparted out to more frontline positions. So programming, dining staff, even clinical staff, a lot of times they are not privy to some of that education and those insights. And it would make such a difference, I think, how people actually might embrace community living or community life and that culture if they understood all how the dots connected through that piece. We will do a day, and Abby, you're going to like this. We're going to explore technology, innovation, and adoption. Ooh, what does that even mean? I think everybody's so almost afraid in a way that if they don't embrace technology immediately, what's going to happen to their community? But I think if we can have some thoughtful conversations around that, get some thought leaders across our collective space from some of even the tech solutions that are out there, let's hear from them. Let's hear why they created different solutions and how they've designed them to actually be an asset to a community to help staff perform their jobs better, which then in turn helps them to be able to support residents differently. And then the last one, learn pathways for growth. And not just for programming or life enrichment professionals, but let's talk about growth in our space. What does that look like? So if you do want to grow in the space, that's one potential avenue. If you want to grow in your marketplace, what does that look like with relationships in your local markets? And then even what does that mean from an advocacy standpoint when we talk about this sector of the business? I still think there's a lot of organizations across our space that are still not embracing how important this part of community life really is. And I'm just so appreciative and grateful that Steve and the Senior Living Foresight team do, because y'all are starting to get that message out loud and clear.
Yeah, and I want to hear more in just a minute about the different roles and how you have those organized. But before we do that, I want to hear a word from Cavo and one of our sponsors. So let's go ahead and hear a word from Cavo first.
You solve a little problem, but it's a little problem that happens a million times a day, which actually makes it into a big problem. And that's sort of how older people interact with the TV, and that the TV really is this great tool that gets suboptimal use, and you really crack this problem in a really amazing way. So why don't you just sort of give me 30 seconds for the audience about what Cavo does?
What Cavo is good at is all things TV. So communicating through the TV, content management through the TV, anything you'd want to overlay on your TV, messaging, that kind of stuff. So we're really, really good at all things TV.
Thank you. Yes, thank you to Cavo. One of my favorite interviews of all time. So I appreciate that. Welcome back, Kelly. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. We're talking today about Evolve 2023, which is going to take place in July. And if you're interested, we're going to talk more in detail about the different days and the different roles. But first, I want to show you that if you are interested and you want more information, because I saw some people wanting to get involved, I want to go ahead and share my screen with you and show you that we have a landing page created on the Senior Living Foresight website. And it's over here. And so if you want more information, you want to register. I don't know about you, but I always need to know when, so I can save it on my calendar. And that's really important. So here is the schedule. Here is the breakdown of the days, what's going to be covered. And then there's also a place where you can go ahead and register. And that's on the seniorlivingforesight.net website. And yeah, we went ahead and put that on the screen there. And I am going to bring you back. There we go.
I love that landing page that the Evolve team created, or the Foresight team created. It is en fuego. That tells you all.
Muy
hot next summer. You don't want to miss this.
On fire. There we go. So First of all, if you don't already know, the event is virtual, which I got to tell you, for me as a mom, I love this because I can participate in what's going on from home. For me to go away for a couple days, it's like heaven and moon have to be moved and created and recreated and then backed up. So, but because this is on a virtual platform, and in the past, it's been like bite-sized pieces, right? Like it's not like a full 9 to 5 commitment. What is the schedule like during the days?
So we do 4 hours each day. And anybody who visits that landing page will see that the Evolve 2020, let's see if I can get that out, Abby. Evolve 2023 dates are July 11th and 13th and 18th and 20th. And so we will do 4 hours each day. We've learned a great deal over the past 2 years. And this last year, people really liked it being spread out over the 2 weeks. They were able to figure out how to be able to attend for a portion of the day, as opposed to, like you said, a full 9 to 5, even if it was online. That's makes it a little difficult from a scheduling standpoint, and maybe making sure different things in your community or for your organization are properly covered. And so we got a lot of positive feedback on that approach and that schedule. And the other amazing thing about the Foresight team is that you'll be able to access the recordings from Evolve for up to a year. Most conferences, 30 days, maybe 90 days. Steve has said, I want people to access whenever they want. We want people to be able to go back and watch with colleagues and team members, so that if you are unavailable, but you've signed up, you will be able to access that. And the other good thing we do is that they are not long sessions. Like, we have it pretty broken up into 30 and 45 minute sessions, even a couple 15-minute sessions, because we want people to be able to go back and review them at their leisure, but it not be like this 90-minute conference session. There has to be some sections of this that are almost like sound bites. The other thing that we are very passionate about for the audience is making sure that with every single session we offer, that each speaker or team of speakers will provide simple takeaways that anybody can go back and implement at their communities. It will be a part of these speaker responsibilities, because we want people to not just learn and grow. We want them to say, oh my gosh, well, that's a really easy thing I can go back and do. Yeah. That's also the premise of this, not to just lay out a bunch of ideas and have people go back and go, well, what do I do next? We want to be able to start to support some of those actionable items with Evolve 2023.
Awesome. I'm so glad. Anytime there's like a little takeaway that I can implement right away, that often starts the whole chain of evolution occurring. So I love that. And I want to know about leadership. How does leadership play into the success of Evolve?
Absolutely. And that's a really good question, Abby. And we can share about our desired audience for Evolve. Of course, activity and enrichment professionals, community leadership, and corporate leadership. So when we think about how this community experience part of our business needs to evolve and pivot and shift, it takes leadership understanding how valuable this is, that this is a primary driver in the marketing story, in the sales messaging. There's no more powerful marketing message than when residents tell their friends and loved ones, I love where I live. You need to come live here too. Yep. How does that happen? It comes from the experience. Yeah. Now, listen, that doesn't mean every single day is going to be perfect, but that also means that the community has crafted this experience, its workplace culture, where residents feel heard. We respond in a timely fashion. Staff feel heard, and we respond to them in a timely fashion. And so leadership has to be at the helm of that. They need to understand why this is a driving piece of the business right now, to support all of those other much larger objectives or KPIs, our occupancy, our budgets, things like that. we all know occupancy is king, because without it, do we really have our industry? No. But why do people want to move in? Why would somebody want to come work somewhere? And so we need leadership understanding that this is no longer activity calendars of the past, that is much bigger. And so we want to be able to also impart to that section of our audience, why? What is the why behind all of this? And why do we need to embrace it and run with it?
Right, because the perpetuating myth right now within the communities that the life enrichment is about arts and crafts and about having fun, right? Having fun, putting up banners, streamers, doing art. So, it's just, and that really needs to be busted. It needs to be pushed out and busted. And because the residents are aspiring to so much more, and the life enrichment department is also. And that really needs to come from the top down, so that the life enrichment director has a place at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really a big underlying current to evolve, is really supporting those life enrichment professionals.
Yeah.
Knowing how to have a seat at the table. I think we all agree the why is there, but now it's making sure we're imparting ideas and steps and processes so they know the how to be at the table. And sometimes the how is the hardest part. We all agree why this is critical. Now, how do we go do it at our setting or our organization? And that's what we want to be able to impart through Evolve 2023, is much more meat, if you will, behind the how.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another thing that's just coming to mind is, do you think that there'll be mentors available to help some of these life enrichment directors implement the things that they're learning at Evolve and hold them accountable and give them coaching for that?
I think that's something we can most certainly make sure we have available going into Evolve. And, what the other thing that is powerful, and I think will bring a lot of value to Evolve 2023, is that myself and my partner at LE3 Solutions, Dr. Kyle and Steve, will be facilitating a monthly advisory board meeting, really targeting Evolve and what our needs are. And right now we have nearly 20 people who've agreed to be participants in the advisory board, and from all different walks of life in senior living. It's not a board of Sarah and Kelly's. We've got some people with clinical background, sales background, dining, because we need those different lenses coming together and weighing in on this, so that when we talk about, the community experience needs to be multi-departmental, needs to be collaborative, that we're not just saying this in a vacuum, that we've had different people from those different backgrounds weigh in on that.
That's awesome. And as I'm previewing in the chat, I can tell that there are a lot of people who have a lot of passion around this topic and are excited about it and want to get on board. And in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and run the link for you to register and the information. But is there a piece of this pie right now, this 4 days right now, that you need more information on, or you're looking for more people to speak or anything like that?
We will, I think, after the meeting this month, that we will start to push out a call for speakers or presenters. And so we'll definitely be pushing that out through Foresight's avenues, through LE3 Solutions avenues. We want to make sure that the advisory board is all on the same page as we start to go out and recruit. We've been really proud of the content and speakers from the first 2 years. But what we've also learned is we have a significant opportunity in front of us to even raise the bar further. Yeah. And that in no way downplays what we've done to date, but we're starting to really find some amazing professionals and sources across our space that we want to get in front of this Evolve audience, because we know it's only going to help them grow and be better in their roles.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up today's episode, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
If you're in Phoenix, go to Buttercakes. No, I'm just kidding. You might need to tell Buttercakes that they're getting free press online.
I will.
I think if there was one parting message today, it's just let's start to look at this piece of the business different and how it can impact KPIs. And I think for a long time, it's been easy. It's been a small department, it's been small budgets, been easy to brush it aside when times are difficult. But it is the thing that still drives the heartbeat of the community day in and day out. And we cannot ignore that any longer. And now it's the time to foster it and lift it up in a really different way.
Woo, I love it. I feel the passion. And I know so many other of you guys are watching too, and you feel it. So great. I can't wait to see how this revolutionizes the life enrichment director's role. So before we wrap up, I want to make sure that if you want to register, you can do just that. If you want to reach out to Kelly, her email and her information is right there, and you can definitely do that. And we will see you all back here next week. For those who have participated, thank you so much. We love that you come on board and you chat with us, and it fuels us and you interact with us. Thank you so much. And we'll see you back here next week.